Welcome to the Dr. Frank and Steve podcast with your host, Dr. Frank Williams and Dr. Steve Snodgrass, MD, FACS, where we discuss a broad range of topics without limitations. Let's get to it. Here's Dr. Frank and Dr. Steve.
Hello, welcome to the Dr. Frank and Steve podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Williams, PhD, and this is your host, Dr. Steven Snodgrass, MD, FACS. Today we're going to be covering a topic that we've covered a couple times, but it's really hitting with regulatory clarification and with more and more of blockchain and Web3 coming out and becoming in part of the mainstream and becoming part of everyday life. We're going to be covering crypto today again, but this time we're going to cover it in depth and why it's important for utility tokens to shine out there, especially USA-based ones like Steve and our creation, the ARTIE token, because it's an ARTIE utility token project, which has real-world use cases and utilities. So we're going to be covering all that. And I'm going to start this off by saying we do all of our research from the AMA. Steve does it from medical journals. I do mine from independent sources and also government sources, NIH, as you know, Bureau of Statistics, the FBI. Wherever the subject is who we normally do. This time we did a little different because we were trying to get some, or rather we were trying to compile some information on questions. So we have, ChatGPT and a couple other AI programs, but we don't use them normally for our research. But this time we did a deep search to find out what are the most common questions asked and what are people's most common misconceptions or concerns or misunderstandings about crypto, about the industry, and why some people are Bitcoin purists, which that's just as silly as you can be, but that's okay. That's your prerogative, do what you want. And so we're gonna go over that because to each their own. So I'm gonna let Steve start off if he'd like, just asking questions, and then I'm gonna go into it. But first, I just wanna tell you that, as the crypto market enters a new phase in the mainstream adoption, the ARTIE project, which is going to be a powerful force because we have real-world utilities, real-world use cases, especially now that meme coins, speculative coins, which I'll go the definitions for all the different types of coins, what a coin versus a token is, and how with those regulatory shifts, there's a growing demand for actual crypto projects with real world use cases and utilities. And that's actually what people are looking for. And Steve and I happen to have, because of our backgrounds and because of our experience in the crypto industry for the last, 8-9 years now, has done. So ours actually covers healthcare, education, and philanthropy. And so you want to make sure that if you don't fall asleep, like you normally do on our podcast for whatever reason, that you stay awake and you actually, you'll learn something here, hopefully, and it'll be something for good for you. Can actually make you some money or save you some money depending on who you're investing in and what you're investing in. And we're not giving financial advice. We're not financial planners. I say that right up front. So anytime you invest, especially in the crypto world, you can lose it all, or you can be driving your Win Lambo when that comes around. So Steve, if you'd like, go right ahead and I'll just answer the questions. And the reason why is I'm the tech guy and I do all the tech creation, the coding and all that stuff for what we've done and the creation along with our teams. And so Steve does his part and he can tell me, Frank, that's the craziest thing in the world, or how in the world were we able to create that and it actually works. So yeah. Steve, take it away.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I play doctor and artist for the most part. And,
yes.
And you are the tech guy because, kind of like you're the DIY guy too. And I'm not. I'm just like, yes. I will admit it, but I'll admit that. But anyway, and I will say this about people who watch our podcast and what our podcast is. We take the most, topical subject matter, and a lot of times we identify that before it's out there. And so we take that, and a lot of times when you see things on the news or in reports, you only get maybe a 1 or 2 minute blurb on it. And it leaves, to me, like when I see something like that, it's just like, the amoeba thing is a great example. Mm-hmm. the podcast we did about bomb blast, those kinds of things. The people that I feel are interested in what we do want to take their knowledge base and just expand it past what normal, what is out there, what the norm is.
Yes.
Because we take it in the most in-depth coverage that I think you can take it without getting into being so esoteric with science that is not well understood by the general population, because they don't have that kind of training. So we take that to the nth degree and offer it as an educational tool. Every single podcast, I want somebody to say like, well, I learned something every time I watch that podcast.
If just one thing.
If it's just one thing, just take away.
Because that one thing could help change your life.
Yeah, it really can. So without any more waiting around here, we created the ARTIE project. The ARTIE project is extremely unique, and the token is one part of it, because it's designed to really elevate humanity, if you will. That was what we built this for.
Yes.
And so this is just part of it. But I'll go into the whole crypto thing for you to ask. I'm asking you so you can tell everybody that's listening, why is ARTIE a different breed of crypto?
Okay, so the ARTIE project, and what I'm going to do is, if you don't mind, Steve, let me cover what actual crypto categories are.
Sure.
And then we'll come back to that question, and that's a good one, and I should have arranged around a little different, but that's okay.
Quite all right. We'll get to them all.
We will get to them all,
get to them
yes, as always. So you have the category of meme coins. Meme coins are basically a community-driven token with viral or humorous appeal, usually no utility involved whatsoever. That's like your Dogecoin, your Shiba. I know Shiba's come out with 3 or 4 of their tokens or coins, which is ridiculous, because Steve and I were heavy investors. We made money on Shiba, I will, for a disclaimer. But when they started coming out with 15 other tokens to help support the one token, that's ridiculous. ARTIE will never do the V2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stuff like that, or create something else. Bobby, Cheryl, Marsha token, whatever, it'll stay ARTIE. And so those are all your hype tokens. They're up one day, they could dump out on you the next. And so you have stable coins, which are pegged as real world assets, but stable coins are basically like the US dollar. They're USDC, USDT, and then you have things like DAI and all that. They normally are set up to help with payments, or with like savings if you're storing your money in there to buy other cryptos, or you can use it towards like Coinbase. Hello, Coinbase. Like a Coinbase card, you can use it on there to actually buy like the USDC. You can use that if you go out, just like you're using a debit card basically. So, that's what they're set up for, because the value of them, normally they're stable because they stay right at about $1, maybe 99 cents to $1, in that area. And then you have utility tokens. Utility tokens, which is what the ARTIE project is, they fuel platforms, games, applications. They provide access to real world features like rewards, NFTs. They are set up to do logistics. They're set up to do research. So a utility token is probably the most, how do I want to say that? The most consequential and useful type of vehicle out there as far as crypto goes. You have security tokens. Those represent ownership in a company or an asset, and those are usually like tokenized equity, which means that they're subject to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay. You have governance tokens. That lets users vote on decentralized protocols, like decision making. That's kind of like your Uniswap, the AAVE. All those, and so those are a little different also. Then you have the store value coins. Those are digital assets and digital money that are basically like gold. And the main one, and literally the only one set out there, is Bitcoin. And as you Bitcoin purists think that's the only coin out there, I've got some stats for you, some enlightenment. So don't get mad at me. I own Bitcoin. For disclaimer again, so does Steve. We think it's fantastic, but it is not the end all. So then you have CBDCs, and those are central bank digital currencies, Those are usually state issued, which some countries are starting to do now, and some banks are looking at doing, and they're usually state controlled. So you have like the digital yuan, you have the proposed digital dollar, which I don't know that that'll ever happen, maybe someday, because of it's not very popular, even though some people want it. So depending on what country, what region, they actually can use those to do transfers, because the transfers, and we have another podcast that explains that, and we also have videos to tell you how fast and what blockchain is. So if you go to like the drfrankandstevepodcast.com, or you go to the ARTIE project, it'll explain what blockchain has little videos on there, and it's artieproject.com. You can go there and just click on the video that says like what is blockchain and crypto, and it'll explain all the way through how it actually works with the the blocks, how fast it is compared to other forms, and how much cheaper it is to do things. So I just wanted to cover those, but those are the main categories for you listeners of the different cryptos. Again, if you like it, and you'd like me to go over it, you'd like me to send you a private message on it, feel free to just get in touch with us and message us. Leave a comment. We'll go ahead and private message or put it out for everyone if you have a question, and we'll answer it there online for you.
Yeah. So, and I think it's important to know that when they talk about the actual blockchain technology and how advanced it is, that we here in the United States, I mean, I certainly believe that we absolutely, without a doubt, should be the leader in the world in regards to blockchain technology,
Absolutely.
As well as cryptocurrency. I mean, I think the world looks to us to lead, and I think that we need to do that in a responsible manner.
Absolutely.
And so I feel that we have taken this ARTIE project as well as the ARTIE token. I mean, we've been involved in a lot of things that, there's no time available to tell everybody what we've been through. I mean, good and bad. Yes. And we've seen pretty much about everything. And so what we did is we took like the best of the best and the worst of the worst, and we said, like, we're not going to do the worst of the worst.
Like Saitama.
Yeah, Saitama. And we're going to be like the best of the best. And so we took all of our knowledge, all of our experience, everything that we've ever learned to put this into a token project. And the thing about it is, we are not in some sort of desert lean-to sort of thing. It's easy for us to be found.
Yes.
I
just got a new pool liner, and I'm not going anywhere in my life. So pool liner just got done.
I'm just saying that, a lot of these people fly-by-night kind of things, and you invest in it, or you think you invest in it, you put money and it's gone.
Oh, there are snake oil salesmen out there, like we said, Saitama. You go from a few $1,000s to anywhere from a 7.6, if you believe some information, $1 billion market cap to an $11 billion market cap, and you're paying out $50 million contracts to supposed influencers, gaming companies that really don't exist,
or a felon,
all that, and you go through hundreds of millions of dollars, and then at the end, you really stick it to everybody, because everybody bought into the utilities and the use cases. And what ended up happening was none of that existed. And what did exist, one or two things, was so shoddy, it didn't even work 90% of the time. So you had issue after issue. I will guarantee you on here, so come after me, that when our technology is released, which it is ready and it works, it does work, and it has been thoroughly tested, quadruple, because I'm a fanatic about that, and it can handle whatever type of traffic that it needs to be able to handle. So, and that's one of the things you were asking, why is already different breed of crypto? It's built as a utility token, not a speculative like asset. And again, nothing wrong with meme coins. Steve and I have invested in many and made money. We've also taken hits for it as well. And what happens is, if you're just buying in on the hype in the community, kind of like the GameStop thing that happened some years ago, that's great. I mean, get in on the wave, know when to buy, know when to sell, and all that. But long term, you're going to look for something that can power real world platforms. So we have utilities like the Cure Chain donations platform, which is a big one. I mean, I'm going to go over several of them. for the ARTIE project I'm talking about strictly right now. So the Cure Chain project is something that we created because Steve and I deal a lot with some of the largest healthcare institutions in the world for cancer research and for like healthcare research, basically, or medical research, if you will. So what we ended up doing, and Steve, you asked me to make sure I cover this thoroughly. We're always seeing where when you make donations, donations go to an organization, then that organization filters that money to maybe an NGO or another organization. So by the time all is said and done, even if you raise $100,000, you're lucky if 25 to 40,000 of it actually goes to the area it's supposed to go to. And so I said, that's kind of hefty, and that's kind of ridiculous. So how can we take a look with our teams, our technical teams, on how to create something? And I'll explain how this works, so it's very simplified. If we have a cancer research center or a childhood diabetes center, pediatric center, eye care center, whatever it might be, if they partner with us, and I don't mean they have to legally partner, I just mean as being one of our donation partners, where we vet them and make sure that they're actually doing what they say they're doing, funding studies and all that. And I leave that up to Steve because he's the expert in double-blind studies and all that. And what we do is we have them just create a wallet. And then we were speaking about USDT and USDC earlier. When you donate to the Cure Chain platform, if you donate $5, that whole $5 goes to that organization straight. No middleman, nobody. What happens is it comes into the ARTIE Cure Chain platform. It is then, there are minor gas fees for those who are, somewhat crypto savvy. There are gas fees involved, but what we do is we use the ARTIE token to fund those. And so what happens is, let's say it's a $5 fee to send $100 to an organization. The ARTIE platform actually makes up and pays for the $5 because with the number of volume that we are getting, the token price generate more revenue by going up, so it makes up for it, and there is no loss to the ARTIE project or Steve and I. So it's more than set up. We have this already pegged out over a 10-year period, and it can go indefinite, but it would take somebody wanting to donate hundreds of billions of dollars before we'd say, hey, we got to take a little bit out of that. And if you're wanting to donate $100 billion, please contact us. We're more than happy to talk with you. But to make it simple, every dime that you donate through the ARTIE Cure Chain platform is routed directly to the wallet of that organization, their financial manager, their treasurer, whoever that might be, CFO, and then they would just take that. So if it's $100, they'll take that USDC and they can spend it just like they're spending to pay for research, interns, assistants, equipment, whatever they need. So it's fully funding that cancer research or fully funding that medical research. We start with cancer research because that's near and dear to our hearts, but there are many different. If you have a research project, and your organization, and you'd like to talk with us, you just get in touch with us through, the platform, or go to, again, artieproject.com, drop us a line, email, you can call us. Our numbers are available. My number's on there. We're more than happy to talk to you. And so one of the ways that we help do that is that we also have gaming platforms, and we have games that are set up a little different. They're play to earn games. So you play the games, you can earn like maybe 50 ARTIE tokens, 100 ARTIE. Now you can then take those tokens, you can cash them in, obviously, or you can stake them. And it's the same platform if you're learning, because we have a unique, complete, it's over 50 different courses, but they are courses for financial literacy, for both young children, for teenagers, for adults, budgeting, stress. There's all kinds of educational courses on there. There's even courses on how to act like a man, or like couth, kindness, and manners. So there's all kinds of things that are all positive and all great courses for people to go through. There's courses on crypto on there as well. And as you go through and complete those, you also are rewarded with tokens. So you may get, again, 50 tokens, 100 tokens. We have 250 trillion tokens. So if you're worried about us running out, don't, because we won't. Even if we burn off a significant portion, it's still going to be more than enough to fund everything we need to do. And so all of that comes together and works not just independently but cohesively to help fund the other and to help offset the other, all while building the project up. Because one of the ways that you build crypto up, if you have a little knowledge, is by making it more scarce. The scarcity of the crypto, a lot of times, besides the hype and the FOMO, fear of missing out and all that, is the fact that the people are worried there's not going to be enough of them around because people are burning them off, which is one of the hypes for Bitcoin. And I think they have 21 million, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and what happens is we have a staking platform. So let me clarify, because Steve's going to be asking about this. Our staking platform is not a traditional staking platform. So it allows you, and I will go through that in a few minutes, to actually take everything that you've got and you can put it in there and earn even more tokens if you want, or you can cash it out. That's your choice. So Steve, I'll let you go on with your next one, but that's basically what sets the ARTIE project in the crypto sphere apart from everything else. We're supporting cancer and medical research, healthcare access from some of our, and financial education. I think those are very popular in today's world.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too that we address is in addition to medical research, again, we just chose cancer because, no matter who you are, where you are, what you are, cancer affects everybody. Cancer has affected everybody in some way.
Especially us.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's an obvious first stop for us. But we also, I think, another strength of ours that is related to cancer is poverty.
Right.
What we want to do is we want to begin a campaign to fight poverty as well, because all of it's interrelated.
Right.
Everything is interrelated. I mean, poor food choices, lifestyle, all those sorts of things, they're related a lot of times to your socioeconomic status in life. And so what we want to do is we want to elevate that for everybody and give you a fighting chance. And the more you know early, the better off you are.
Absolutely.
And so what we're tackling all these different social problems as well as medical problems. And so that's the purpose of this token. But we've been in Bitcoin for quite a while, but that was 2017, something like that. So describe the changing crypto landscape this year compared to what it has been and where it's going to go.
There's a lot of money projected to come into crypto. Crypto's sitting at about a $3 trillion market right now, and it had dropped because of the former SEC chair Gensler, and he was always going after crypto, hated crypto like several senators and some congressmen. That's fine. I don't know why you want it offshored when America should lead the way, because we're talking, and you'll find out in a minute, just how much money is going to be coming into that market. Don't you think it's wise for the U.S. to be the leader because of all the cash and the flow? And it's not something that's speculative. This money's coming in. And we've had podcasts talking about how much money's out in financial markets, which is unbelievable. But a lot of that's going to start gearing towards crypto because it's an inflation hedge. And it's also a sure bet if you have real world utilities, that token's going to be around for a while, or that coin. And again, I'll go back over what a coin and a token is real quick. A token is a non-mineable asset, which means that you have individual tokens, so they're like little digital coins, A coin is a mineable asset, so you can mine those, kind of like you can Bitcoin. Those digital assets, that's why you hear about try mining from home, try it on your phone, try it on your laptop. That's different. So they're mineable, which means you can go out and actually collect money from mining those coins, Tokens, you can't do that. And so that's the only difference there is. Otherwise, people interchange those all the time. But ARTIE is technically a token because you can't go out. So when we're looking at SEC regulations, you got the FIT 21, you got SEC shifts because you've got new people taking over, and you've had some crypto wins. You had a lot of the cases that were pending against some of the large crypto organizations and exchanges were dropped and done away with, and those involve everything from the way they store money, exchange money, allow people to purchase and sell to their staking platforms, which they say that's kind of like a speculative security. So a lot of that's been cleared up, and there's even more coming up that's being cleared up as the days go on. We just had the big stablecoin bill passed in the last few weeks. So as the U.S. moves stronger and stronger into a finite decision, which they have basically, and they're just getting there regulatory wise, that crypto is its own unique financial, market. It is completely separate. It will actually, at some point, Steve, you and I have talked about this, it will separate, not follow the stock market trends when they're up and down. It will have it be its own thing, and more money will come in. As a matter of fact, you got major players, like major financial players like BlackRock, Fidelity, and banks that are all entering the crypto space, and buying. And why they buy Bitcoin, they're also looking for real world utility tokens. So they buy other projects because the crypto infrastructure is not speculative. It's it's buildable, especially if you're into like platforms off Ethereum or those others that allow you to build out those projects. And so if you look at, let me get to mine so I don't misquote this. The a lot of talk about crypto in the mainstream. What's fueling this momentum, which is technically I think your question for, but crypto's at its true tipping point. So with the hype, with people seeing the real world use cases, the utilities that are being done with blockchain, Web3, and crypto, which is all combined, there is a shift towards a bear market that is projected to hit by June of 2026 of taking the market from 3 trillion to 10 trillion. And if you don't think that's a lot of money, if you're investing, that's a lot of money. And they expect over the next 5 years, that could be in the tens of trillions of dollars. Because right now they're figuring, these are financial experts, financial analysts. You can find this all over the internet, from Wall Street, Beats, I think the New York Times did something on it, don't put me on that. A lot of, not that they're that great at doing it, but a lot of places that deal with crypto and financial markets, stock markets, have said there's between $200 and $300 trillion waiting to go into the crypto market over the next 5 to 10 years. So that literally will compare with the stock market. And if you're in early into these things, and those coins that are stable, those tokens that are stable, have real world use case, you're going to be setting pretty.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where we have taken everything into account. We keep going back to Saitama, and it's just one of those things. I talked to their leadership about, they were talking about how they had all these different, 2 hospitals in Europe or something like that. And then I talked to them, I said, look, I can bring a lot more to you if you want to have a discussion. But instead they went out and just absolutely ripped through all of their cash and just total mismanagement of it. Or it could be not mismanagement, but management is the way they saw fit, just to say, I'm going to take the money and run.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
And what goes on when you have, not knocking it, so my techs and some of the people involved don't get all worked up. Steve and I are the US based founders, and that's the way it will stay. Even with other people involved in the project. We do not have people like, unfortunately, the company or the project he was talking about, which we were involved in as far as investors, or buyers, holders, whatever you want to call it. The majority of that whole team, other than I think 2, Russ and the gaming goober, or tech guy, hopefully he went back to school when he got done. But all those were from foreign countries, and just laughed basically at the people, and we're so arrogant because apparently they never have a dime in their pocket, that they really, really hurt the crypto community and set it back. Which is why people say, oh, this is something but a scam, pump and dumps, whatever. And the utility sounded good, but there was none there.
Yeah. And I went to Vegas to their big party, if you will, and they had rented out, space in the, I think it was MGM Grand or something, something along those lines. But just an incredible show of like where this thing was going to go. And, we were led to believe that it was going to be put on Coinbase, which it should have been.
Yes.
It should have been. But we single it out because it's such a great explainer.
Yeah.
It really is, of like, well, what to do and then what not to do.
That's exactly right.
And so, we just took the best ideas, and we've taken the best ideas from a lot of different projects and put them together with our own ideas to formulate this entire project. And I have extreme confidence in it as just not only just a father and husband and United States citizen and physician. We put together everything in our knowledge base to create this and do it at a very high standard, the highest standard.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think that people need to know that our goal is to not collect your money and then all of a sudden we're gone. We plan on being
We have
here.
a lot of tech that's already ready to go that we're going to release as we go along. As Steve knows, we plan on being here because we want to have this tech out, not just because of donation platforms, but we also have medical tech that can help save time, energy, and money. And we have healthcare models, programs, like therapy programs that we have invented and created that can actually save, hundreds of billions of dollars and can save a lot of time, energy for doctors to make them less stressed. So there's a lot of exciting things that they're just sitting there. They're already created. They're ready to roll. We just didn't want to put out 50 things at once because then, you sound like the Walmart of crypto.
Well, it's overwhelming.
Yes.
It's all overwhelming anyway.
We don't mind being the Amazon of crypto.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Well, it's all so overwhelming, and so
it is.
And especially it's just a new asset class, and people used to trade cattle for currency.
Yep.
And so it's like, it's a new asset class, and people, rightfully so, are a little nervous about it, that sort of thing. But that, to me, it's time for that to pass. And are there going to be bad crypto projects? Sure. Absolutely. Are there going to be great ones? Yes. And we put ourselves in.
How much of those Japanese guys? What was it? They made in so many hours was
$232 million in a matter of I don't even know if it took an hour or not.
Yeah, and then they just dumped and
they just left. Yeah, it's incredible. So I mean, all that's out there,
yeah,
and all that's been here since.
And if we pulled anything, you'd be more than happy to come to our house, Steve or mine, and you would talk to our wives, and they would say, you can visit their headstone in the backyard. That's where we buried them.
No, we're not. We have based our entire lives on integrity and service. And this is just a mere extension of that. You with your military background and law enforcement background, and me with my medical surgical background. We put a combination of what we've learned to put into this project, and we want people to understand, we're not here to steal your money.
No.
And
I never understood that anyway. So and I'm not acting like this is like that's what we're sitting in our pockets right now. But these guys they get market caps, and market caps are different than actual liquidity in the product. Everybody, if you don't know that, it'll be explained, through research or through, one of our videos we have. But these people that grow to multi-billion-dollar market caps, which is our goal, is to get us a multi-billion-dollar market cap to be one of the top 100 cryptos, in the market. And we should with everything we have, we've had business analysts look this over, researchers, and they would tell us honestly that we're insane, but they believe the same way, once this project catches on. But I don't understand why you take a quick buck and you go, when if you do it long term, just think of the good and the amount of money you could do to help people. Like Steve said, in poverty-stricken areas and regions, you could help fund after-school programs. I've seen a wonderful program here in Kentucky that one of the poor little counties is doing to fund like 50 kids to go to a camp for a week, and they have different people come in, and it's like educational, but it's also fun. They take them on a little bit. Stuff like that is part of the donation process that Steve and I want to work in and support so that it can lift those people out of poverty. And if they can get, educational resources, gaming resources that can help them to be educated, how to lift themselves out of poverty, then, we're a better world and a better community for that, basically.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things, as you talked about earlier, that why we chose cancer, but that's just the beginning of the whole thing with the cancer, and then focus on poverty as well. But this has applications as far as diabetes research or chronic kidney disease. All of these things are starting to become more prevalent, if you will, just because of the way that we eat, drink,
the lifestyle.
The lifestyle. And so all of these things like diabetes is becoming like it's just going to be it's already of epidemic proportions, especially China and India with their populations. Hundreds of millions of people are diabetic or pre-diabetic.
Yes.
So you're looking at that, and all of that has something to do with kidney disease because diabetes is directly related to it. So we're looking at all these different things that can be funded and helped. But we start with cancer, but we understand that it's a big world out there, and we eventually want to get involved with all these different groups because there is a way to make a very positive difference in all of it.
There is.
Yes, and so that's one of the things that we want to get.
And there's such
across.
a cut, especially after Doge, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's so much funding that has been cut now. We're talking tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in funding, as we have been told by some of our affiliate people we're working with right now, and donation partners, basically, which are the largest, and I won't say their names, but you'll see them eventually, the largest, research and healthcare organizations in the world, period. I know, like Steve says, Saitama had 2 hospitals. Well, how about going with 27 countries and tens of thousands all on your side, which is what we're looking at. And so, if they are panicking and as one told us, they've got 10 labs that may shut down because they're in stage 2 of trials. They're in stage 1 or they call them phase 2 trials, phase 1. They're looking at doing others. They're going to have to lose their research assistants. So this is why we are doing what we're doing to help partner with them, let them get already out there and exposed to their clients, their boards, their patients, everybody. So everybody can get involved in the ARTIE project, and even small amounts, $1, 50 cents, $5, whatever it is, that somebody can buy the tokens with, is going to help go back, because 1% of everything goes back automatically. That's bought, goes back to those facilities to help fund them beyond everything else that we're doing.
Yeah, and one of the things that one organization that we worked with, they lost $250 million in funding, which is obviously substantial.
Yes.
But the thing about it is, for us, is that this is a way, again, to compensate for that loss of funding. And the important point too is, I get asked all the time for these donations, and they're asking for large donations.
Yes.
And a lot of people are frightened by that. And but we've got a thing that we haven't really brought it out too much to the forefront, but we're going to, about just a program called like 5 for the Fight.
Right.
It's like, if you want to just donate $5 or buy $5, worth of the ARTIE token or something like that. I mean, just about everybody can afford something like that. And so there could be a vast positive difference made without these huge donations up front, just $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever.
Right.
Just, there's a spot for everybody.
Exactly.
And so we just range from basically $1 to whatever.
Right.
There's no ceiling on it, but the beautiful thing about it is, you can have a minimal purchase that does good.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can do good for $5, and that's the way we've set this thing up, and we did it on purpose.
Which is why ARTIE, and you'll see our character in the video, and in the intro and everything. But ARTIE, the acronym, basically stands for Advanced Research Token for Innovation and Empowerment. There's the name. And people say, where'd they come up with that name, ARTIE? It wasn't our, local butcher or something. So that's the character Steve and I created together, and just thought it was unique because we use our platform and our art gallery also, and the artistry from Steve to actually do. The last one we did raised about what, 80 some $1,000,
something like that.
excuse me, in donations. So we're looking at doing another one coming up here in the fall, and we expect to exceed that far for another cancer research area where they can help actually with maybe 5 of those as micro grants for the areas that they may have to shut down. So we are doing everything we can to put our heart and soul into this. Like I said, we just want to see it succeed and go forward, and which is why we're talking about this. But as crypto becomes more mainstream, and I'm gonna let Steve get back to his question. That's all I stop the app.
Well, I think that this is a good thing too, is you talk about crypto for good, and so how would you say that ARTIE helps everyday people and then every other day people?
Everyday people and every other day people.
I consider myself son of an every other day.
Yeah, I will. So one of the things that ARTIE does, like Steve said, the 5 for the 5 fight, which is one of our big campaigns that will be coming out upon the launch. And if you're curious about when ARTIE will be launching, there will be something on the website. It explains everything we're doing, has a list of the ARTIE, ARTIE project, project.com. And it'll have from the gaming, you'll see the games on there. The first 4 games, you'll see the basic learning platforms and what they all curtail. They're very fascinating. They're great, especially for kids or young people or adults who aren't very financially literate. It has our Stake for the Cure, which we'll cover here in a few minutes, and why it's probably the most unique staking platform in the market, because it's not a traditional SEC regulated staking. We've already spoken with the SEC, but I'll go into that in a little bit. But it allows everybody, as Steve said, to make a meaningful donation. If you've only got $1 to put in, well, that's fine with us. If you've got $5, $10, we actually help everyday people by rewarding them if they're students or adults with the gaming platforms, and these games are for adults as well as kids. There are the learn to earn games, so those actually, they pay you to actually do it and to actually, educate yourself. And it opens the door for financial inclusion for everybody, so part of the money we have, as Steve was saying, helps with poverty and want, and so we put money back into that by you donating. And so everyday people are lifted up because, one, they're getting the educational tools they may need to help them. If it's that one thing they read and go, you know what, I think I will start just putting $1 a week. And then in 4 weeks, I'll start putting $5 away. And so it can help. This is how I balance a checkbook. This is how I make a budget. This is how I should look at groceries. This is what I should do to restrain myself when I want to go out and overshop or open up credit cards. All those things are on there. And then through that, it allows us to fund more research, which can then come back and save lives. And besides saving lives, which is crucial because Steve and I, like I said, have been personally, it's personally affected our immediate family, cancer has. And so starting off with cancer, that really helps. And with children, people, as they go through their daily lives, are going to want to be able to, concentrate on living longer, better health. All of those things are built into the ARTIE Utility Token project to be able to supply that specific need. And to give you a little example, and I know Steve's going to cover this a little bit and ask me basically what we're going to do in the future, because that was one of the main questions. We actually have a cold storage wallet that's been prototyped. Everything's done on the coding end and everything else. It will actually allow you to store all your medical records, because here in the US, as that law's out, you got to be at the healthcare institution that you are visiting, organization. They have to be able to let you download. Download, or they need to supply you with all your healthcare records.
It has to be available when you ask for it.
That's right. So this device, which looks about like a cell phone, will allow you to do that. It also will allow you to play the games. It'll allow you to take the courses on there. It will allow you to store your crypto like a cold storage wallet on there. It will allow you to interact, and it is a very unique tool. And I know people say, well, why don't you just, we have apps that you can do on phones, but we felt that this would be a way to, as a cold storage, that it's a lot safer. You know, it's biometric, and it's got several safety features, and it's trackable, and it's a vault. The ARTIE vault that's what it's called, the ARTIE vault, to be able to allow you to do all that. So all those things, and we're going to try. So I want to say we're going to do it 100%. That's going to depend on you as the ARTIE community to help us. We want to try and make these things available on a wide scale, either as cheap as possible, and in some areas on a needs base, maybe sponsors to pay for them to go out to people who are, you know, underprivileged or in underserved communities.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And then the other thing too is, and it's obviously a very good question, is if the big institutions are entering crypto, how do you see ARTIE fitting in with these bigger institutions like a BlackRock, Fidelity, etc.?
Well, you know, the BlackRock Fidelities, it's interesting you asked that one because I was thinking about that a minute ago. My main brain multitasks like yours does. Just add me something, add me normal. But what happens is, if you really read what BlackRock's saying, what some of the other big players, Fidelity, what some of these other big players are saying, even the presidents and these banking associations are saying, we're interested in not just Bitcoin, but we're interested in not meme coins, because they're not into, those are way too speculative. You can imagine, as Steve and I were talking earlier before the podcast, you say, oh, I'm going to put my $250,000 of my retirement money, I'm going to get it in some of that there crypto. I don't do a very good Southern. My students make fun of me all the time. But, you know, and they say, oh, what would you like to go in? I want to go in Poopy Doop coin. You know, not Poop coin, I know that one did real well, but Poopy Doop coin, whatever it might be. And your bank says, sure, we're going to have you sign this letter saying it's speculative, high risk, because you really believe it's going to work. And then next thing you know, now that $250,000 worth $2.50.
Yeah.
And it's out. So BlackRock, Fidelity, all these others, and we don't have any affiliation with them, do have Fidelity accounts, so I should make that disclaimer. And banks, which we have affiliations with. But what happens is they're looking for, and this is their quotes, utility-based, strong use case assets, which are USA-based. So they're looking for something that's got the utility to make it sustaining and long-lasting.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things too that I found kind of humorous was Warren Buffett, you know, the founder of Berkshire Hathaway. That's what his thoughts initially on Bitcoin were, you know, rat poison square kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I think he's changed his viewpoint on that
slightly.
So what I'm going to say is, Mr. Buffett, we're going to invite you to have a discussion with us about ARTIE. And because this is it's not Bitcoin, that's for sure, but this is something that definitely has a growth pattern. And as it grows, it does nothing but fund research to make life better for everyone. And so if you want to get involved in a crypto project, Mr. Buffett, come talk to us. How about
That's
that?
right.
So there we
go.
go.
Yeah, we want to be the leader, and we want to be the go-to donation platform for literally any charitable use, so that they're not getting racked by these third parties.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable that some of these charities that you give money to, and you know, 80% of it does not go fund what it's supposed to.
Yeah, as we found out with Doge.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
You know, the government.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But anyway, I feel that this project is extremely unique, and I would like for you just to explain this, because when you look at the current regulatory landscape in the United States, you know, why is ARTIE safe under SEC scrutiny? I think that's such an important point.
It is, and you're talking about like the token itself. And you're also probably talking, I would imagine, are you talking about the staking platform?
Yes,
that we have as
yes.
well?
Because I think our staking, even, you know, it's like, it's different.
Yes.
Our staking is very different. And we came up with what I feel is extremely.
It's the only one in the marketplace.
Yeah, it's the only
That's
one.
unique.
And it's so unique and such a great invention, if you will. I'm not saying just because we came up with it, but we came up with it because we've been burned
Yes.
a lot. We've done well, but we've been burned a lot. And we're saying, like, you know, we want to do this exactly by the book.
Yes.
And, you know, there's
You would not believe all the painstaking, not just research, but, you know, things we have done, then have to correct them to make sure that they met that regulatory.
And the thing about it is, for us, is that a lot of people in these crypto projects, they try to hide from the SEC. And we went to them.
Yes.
And then we hired some of the best crypto lawyers in the world to evaluate this. And we went through step by step at the time on the Howey test and all the regulatory items that were involved with all that. So we have not tried to hide. We've been 180 degrees from that. We're just going like, here we are, this is what we're doing. So make sure that we are in compliance. So I'll let you take it from there. But I feel like in that regard, there is nothing like this.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little backstory. Steve and I, when we created this token, everything was still up in the air. We knew Gensler wasn't long for this world as far as his position. Let me say that right. So we wish you nothing but long life and good health. Just retire and stay away. But we created a staking platform like everybody else's. Well, that threw us into a regulatory position, not just because we were a utility token, but it meant that we would be considered a security, like a stock or a bond or a financial platform or a financial institution, literally, because there was the promise and the expectation of a gain, which is what sets you as a security. You go into that thinking, I'm going to buy this stock. I know it's going to go up. I'm going to buy this crypto and stake my money. And staking is just a way of taking the amount of crypto that you buy. So let's say you buy 100 ARTIE tokens, and you then put that into a little ARTIE staking account, which is like a savings account. And what happens is during that time period, if it's in there 3 months, 6 months, or a year, you get a percentage rate based off what you got in there. So if it's $100 and you might make $3 on it if you leave it in there and for 3 months. What ends up happening is that's an expectation of profit. So that means that you are security under the Howey test and under which is an SEC regulatory test to see if you're a security or not. So after we created this platform, we then changed it. And then we came back and we ran it through, like Steve said, we've got some of the best crypto lawyers in the world, along with advisors. And we said, does this mean it? They said, nope, you're still going to do it. So we actually pulled staking out of the ARTIE project. And so to get it fine-tuned, sitting around one day, Steve and I were talking, and I said, it's a shame there's not a way we could do this. And Steve said, well, let's just research and find out. So we redesigned the whole platform to meet SEC standards to avoid the Howey test, which means we're not a security. So we came up with the Stake for the Cure platform, which is what it's called. And so it does the same thing as staking, except you have 3 different choices. So let's say you take those 100 ARTIE tokens, you put them into the ARTIE Stake for a Cure platform. If you leave it in 3 months, you get 20%. So you get, 20% is your increase in tokens that's coming back to you. If you leave it in 6 months, you get 50%. So if you got, $100 worth of tokens, you're basically making 50 bucks. If it's in for 1 year, so you leave those set in there and pick the 12 months. There's 3 different options. You pick the 12 months. At the end of that 12 months, you would get an additional 110% of what you had in there. So instead of having 100 ARTIE tokens, if we're going that way, you would actually have 210 ARTIE tokens. So hopefully you're following me on that. I'm trying to keep it very simple. And so what allows us to not be considered an expectation of profit is the way that we set up the way that you collect the tokens that you have and the tokens that you earn. So you have 3 choices. At the end of your staking period or the end of your savings, like a CD period, even though it's not a banking instrument, you are allowed to donate the tokens. So you could donate them to a 501c3
At the end of the period.
At the end of the period. At that next day, a little note will pop up to you at your email and to your account and say, okay, you have completed your staking period. Your ARTIE tokens are back to your original amount. What would you like to do with the additional 20%, 50%, or 110%, depending on your staking period? You can donate those 20% of tokens to a charity, and you'll get a tax deductible receipt for that. You can take and burn them, which you can hit the button, and the button will send those 20% of tokens to the burn wallet, like the Ethereum burn wallet with all the zeros. So, and then what happens, we get a ledger log that tells us, and then like a hyperledger, and it keeps track. So then you're making the token value go up because you're burning off tokens, which makes it more scarce.
You're just decreasing the denominator.
That's right. And if you're a greedy SOB, then the third choice might be for you. But don't be lazy about it, because I'm telling you, this tech works, and you will get caught without thinking. And I don't want to hear your complaints. Steve don't want to hear your complaints. You have been forewarned, and it is right on there and tells you on the staking platform. Your third option is you can take all of that back to you. So if you've got 20%, that extra 20 tokens, or that extra 50 tokens, or 110 extra tokens beyond your initial amount that you earn, you can take those back. But there's a caveat. You either have to complete one of the games, like one of the financial resource games, or one of the games on, art therapy, or whatever it might be, or you have to complete a learn to earn course. So, and we have a tracker contract, which is a smart contract built in a blockchain. It tracks every time that somebody does that in everybody's wallet, because it's part of our project. And it will say, excuse me, a little button will come up with those three choices. If you've met them, it'll say donate, burn, keep. But the keep will only come up, it'll say approved, keep. If you did not, so let's say you say, I'm gonna leave it in for a year, I'm gonna put $10 in, so what, I'll get, $21, whatever it might be, and at the end of that 12 months, you say, I ain't gonna worry about taking that little silly course or do that little game, I don't do that. You're not gonna get that third choice. It's gonna come up and say, surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
You either get to donate or you get to burn. And at that point, do not come back to Steve and I or the team and say, hey, I want my money just because I didn't do it. This is fully explained, and that's what sets it apart from every other staking platform out there on the market. And that is why there's no expectation of gain and no promise, because you have to earn. You are earning those extra tokens if you want to keep them at any staking period by having to perform something that's a requirement. That does not make it a security, because you don't go out and buy stocks and say, oh, I went into I bought the Amana slow cookers stock. I'm gonna go out and buy 3 or 4 of those, and I'm gonna have to, it says you have to buy 3 or 4 and then use them and show you use them and all that before, I can keep my money. So that's where that comes from.
And I think that that is so unique.
It is.
And it's so forward thinking, if you will. But we worked hard to come up with all that. And we've had like some of the best legal crypto minds talk to us about all this. And so we
hired them, just so you know.
We did. We hired them and used our own money. But it's one of those things where we felt that what is going to set us apart, because again, we've been burned by bad projects, and where did they fall short? Well, we took everything we've ever learned and applied it to this. And I feel like this is such a very unique program that will do so much good around the world that I don't foresee us doing anything but being one of the top cryptos in the world. Mm-hmm. I believe that wholly, and because we didn't sit here and work for years to fail.
No, absolutely not. No. We really haven't, because like you said, there are so many different tech aspects to this. Plus, it's a utility token based in the U.S. with a USA based company. We are looking at launching within the next 30 days because we wanted all this to be, and it's done. We just are picking the right time, and we're talking with influencers. We are waiting on a couple of we have some of the largest healthcare providers, organizations in the world have already partnered with us as a donation partner. We're just waiting on another one to make sure who we're going to set our initial donations up for and who we can do the 501c3 receipts for you when you get done with your staking. The same as some of the influencers. And we are in contact with some major figures, if you will,
And we'll keep you posted and updated.
Yes.
But one of the things that you have asked, or is asked out there, and it's an important thing, but why isn't Bitcoin enough? What are new blockchain projects like ARTIE? Why are we necessary?
Okay, that's a great question. And this is to my friends, particularly and independently, along with some of yours and people we know that are Bitcoin purists. Like I said, God bless you. If that's where you feel, be all for it, but don't slam other crypto and don't slam other platforms as just being crap or expletive word coin or tokens, because it just shows your ignorance. And so what happens is Bitcoin is a great foundation. Bitcoin is like gold, so it's a great store of value, which is why people are looking at using it. Banks, actual countries are looking at it to be their as part of their reserve. If not their reserve for some. But Bitcoin has some design problems. It's not designed for complex applications. It's set up as a store of value. It's slow. It lacks smart contract capability. And so it's best suited for the store, like I said, gold or reserve currency. And ARTIE is built on Ethereum, which leverages smart contracts, interoperability. It's energy efficient, the networks are. For real world adoption in healthcare, education, commerce, we need advanced chains. And ARTIE is built on one of those advanced chains, which is by far the most advanced chain, no matter what everybody else keeps saying that they're going to come up and do, which is Ethereum. ARTIE isn't here to replace Bitcoin or take its place. It has its own unique designation, if you will, and that's great. But if you really are true to get into the crypto sphere and the crypto markets, you want to look for something that can help Bitcoin and help become, because it's a decentralized apps and platforms for everyday people to use. You can't do that on Bitcoin. You can only do that on utility tokens. And yes, I know for profit now, I'm talking different. People say, well, Bitcoin's made more, millionaires and billionaires. That's not true. If you look at the meme coin market by itself, not to mention the utility chain markets, there has been more millionaires and billionaires made, even off some of the silly coins that are out there. And I can name them because, it's just the Pepes that St. Thomas before they defunct and screwed everybody. What are some of the others out there? I was looking at, I was just naming them a little earlier.
Well, Shiba's always been there.
Shiba's always been there, yes.
Doge was the original.
Yes, the original, yes. And you've got, there are probably hundreds of thousands of tokens now. Some stay, some go out. There are tokens that have been sitting there that deal with art, that deal with healthcare. Not many, hardly any. So we look to surpass all of those in one fell swoop because ARTIE has a huge art component built into it, which is a unique, we haven't even talked about, but that's a unique factor built into it. But Bitcoin, like I said, Bitcoin is your platform to be the value like gold. Then you see, even with gold, you have all these other financial instruments that are built around it. You have credit cards, you have debit cards, you have CDs, you have all these different things that are there and built to make sure that the technology can advance, the financial markets can advance. So when you look at ARTIE and the ARTIE project being what it is, it fits all, and it hits all the areas that all the regulators and all of the financiers, the investors and the major players are looking for. It's USA based. It's got real world use case. It's got real world utilities. It's a completely safe technology which can be verified, has been verified. It's one of the safest tokens out there for smart contracts. And so ARTIE will help build on what Bitcoin has done, and it will build what Bitcoin can, which is a utility, based project.
Yeah. Well, one of the other questions is about what future technology is being developed around ARTIE. I think you've covered most of that.
Yes.
If there's anything you want to add, but this to me, this is truly is a labor of love for me, and I know you feel the same way. Is that we have done everything that we can to make sure that we have an instrument that is going to be, as we call it, a utility token.
Yes.
We're going to be very useful. So I guess one of the things in regards to wrap up, or at least start the process, is where do you see us in 5 years? Where do you see this entire project in 5 years?
Well, one of the things we designed around, and one of the things that is our hopes, and also our goals, because we're very goal oriented, is to have something that's generational. So instead of being, here's an easy way. We want to be like GlaxoSmithKline. We want to be like Johnson & Johnson, but in the crypto sphere. Mm-hmm. We want to have the ARTIE project be the go-to for donations and lead the way for philanthropy, for medical technologies, and expands into those. Like I said, we have the soapbox for doctors who, that's why I was saying time, energy, and money. Was it 47% of the doctor's time is spent, dictating into charting issues? Yes, charting. So we have a technology that actually does that through AI. That actually does it and enters it into the system, which can be checked afterwards, but it allows them to do that so they don't have to sit there and dictate. It can do that as they're actually doing everything they need to do, and fills in the different areas that need to be filled in as part of what they need to chart. And so that will save tremendous amounts of time, energy, burnout for physicians. Yeah. Maybe the physician said something in the exam room, not that it happens, but they do get exhausted. I know from seeing so many, patients. But if they say something in the exam room and then they forget to chart that, I'm sure that happens.
Problem.
Yeah, so this won't let that happen. That's one of the things. We have the Army, sorry, that's slip there, because I was Army. We have the payment systems for ARTIE. We have the therapy systems for, pediatrics that will allow them. The ARTIE universe, the ARTIE character by itself is currently in, I guess I can say that, currently in development for a whole cartoon system in its own little network. So that is something that's very exciting. So I see ARTIE as being, like I said, just like a major conglomerate leading the world in both healthcare technology, funding healthcare research, getting out the newest tech, and people actually coming to us, wanting us to help them develop it, have us help them put it out there in the market, because we don't just want to be a USA leader. ARTIE will be a global leader. Whether you're part of it or not, that will be your loss, because ARTIE will be there and it will kick some serious butt. All you got to do is look at the top art or even healthcare coins right now, or tokens. They do, millions of dollars a day in transactions. They don't provide anything, literally. And so we have the opportunity to increase our sphere just from some of the resources we looked at doing before, and the contacts that we have, and the actual contract that we have. We just did not have the technology at the time. This has been years ago. We do now, where it can reach, I won't say the name, but how many organizations are within, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's 60,000.
60,000.
Yeah.
And that's just one of them. And so this will become a major player. And all we're looking to do is getting the top 100, and we would like to do that in the first year. And in 5 years, we'd like to be in the top 10, the top 15 cryptos that are out there in the marketplace. And yes, that's bold and that's arrogant, but I know we can do it because of what we offer.
And one thing too that I think is often overlooked, if you look at basically, I don't care if it's geriatric or what patient demographic that you're looking at, is that ARTIE gives a relatable companion, if you will. And it's that's no small thing, because if everybody, I can tell you this from being a patient, unfortunately, but also being a physician, and when I was a surgeon, everything I did was pretty major. I mean, it just for the most part it was. And you see people that are in distress and they're taken out of their world. They're, especially like for kids, kids in the hospital, that sort of thing is a very difficult situation for not only the kid, but for the whole family, especially the parents. But ARTIE is basically can be a companion and somebody that definitely improves patients' lives, the quality of their life. And so that's a small thing, but it's really not a small thing.
That's right.
So all of this is interwoven to make the human experience better, some way, somehow. And I think that to me is one, again, you've got a thing that's not about Lambos, it's about lives.
Yeah.
And we're not going to say you're not going to be able to buy a Lambo, but we're just talking about with the ARTIE token, if that's how you get there, then you've done it by elevating people's lives.
That's right. So you help make healthcare cheaper, faster, and more efficient.
Yeah, and healthcare is going to be drastically changing, and especially with this blockchain technology that we have. I mean, it's already in the well into it.
Right.
So I feel like that we are extremely unique. We are a project that is built out of your background and my background, which is a service-oriented background. We're honest, and we're there for you to discuss all of this. So we're not going to be somebody that's a fly-by-night where you give us X amount of dollars and all of a sudden they're like, where are Frank and Steve? We're going to be here.
They're in Bora Bora.
We're going to be here. And I think that to me is just says a lot. Where are the founders? Well, we're right here.
Yes.
And we're very easy to get a hold of, very easy to interact with. And this whole thing is just an extension of ourselves.
That's right. And just to give you a little promo for the ARTIE is very heavily based in the art world also. It allows young artists, if you don't think you're an artist, there are metaverse AI, VR, art galleries that are coming up, auctions, all that to help as part of the project to fund these things and the community. So, and it's part of the art therapy programs and all that. So there's a lot to this, which is very solid and very refined to make ARTIE, I think, probably one of the most unique projects that's hit the crypto market.
Oh, I think so. And like what you talk about in our art gallery, in the Williams Snodgrass Art Gallery, you're looking at, here's an opportunity for people to create their art. And especially a lot of it is centered around patients, because in the VA system, they've had art therapy for 40, 50 years?
Since the 40s.
Yeah, something like that. So it's very important that, that art gets seen. That art's not stored in a basement or an attic or thrown away, because that can be some of the most primal, guttural, meaningful art. And so if you've got something that's created, then we invite you to put it on the Williams Snodgrass Art Gallery, and we take care of it for a year for $5, which I think is incredible. There's no monthly fees. It's just a one-time shot to get your art noticed around the world. So all of this is interwoven into the ARTIE project, and the token is just one segment of it, although a very important one. But the whole thing is a global lifestyle kind of thing that is centered around helping other people.
Absolutely.
So that's all I really have.
That's all I've got for today.
Yeah.
I think we've covered quite a bit.
We've covered a lot. It's a lot of information. You may want to watch it and several minute increments, but
Yeah.
the information is extremely useful,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things. We invite people to come on this journey with us. We're inviting you to participate in the ARTIE project and the ARTIE token, and everybody wins. Everybody
become part of the ARTIE community. We will have live AMAs where Steve and I will be sitting here like this, talking back and forth to people through like Zoom discussions. We'll do it through voice. We'll do it through video. We are ready to rock, and we'll be here for the community.
And it's a win-win-win.
Yes.
Everybody wins. And I mean, I don't see how anybody can argue with that, because you're looking at the people that buy the ARTIE token are going to be helped by that, and there's this whole knowledge there that people are going to get funded by that. So it's just a win for these organizations. It's a win for the patients. It's a win for your families. It's a win for everybody.
Absolutely.
And so we built it that way.
Yes.
So I'm going to say that's all I got.
As well with me. So we appreciate you. Thank you again for sticking with us as always. We look forward to your comments and questions. Until the next time, have a great day. Stay happy. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Dr. Frank and Steve podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit follow or subscribe on the link provided so you can stay up to date on new episodes. Until next time, stay healthy and stay safe.